So, what I want to show you is an assignment that I just gave to some students and they just completed, and it's going to describe a lot of what I'll be looking for in your work and things to think about. This is in my sort of introductory camera class, but they have to do a lot of editing as well. So, how many people have heard of the rule of thirds? Okay, I'm going to describe quickly the rule. And this is part of the assignment that I gave them. You get to watch and critique their work. Rule of thirds. The frame is very big. So where we frame things for people to look at is incredibly important, especially if you're going to be editing. If I get a bunch of footage and I cannot follow it, I may have to reframe it. Because going back to the cinematographer, the director, or if we were doing news or whatever and we're just doing it as fast as we can, it's kind of like, well, we can't really get a do-over. So what I'm often looking for is this. We divide the frame up into thirds, just like that. Okay? And we use these four areas, and sometimes we'll say dead center as our guide. Okay? When we want things to feel active, especially in editing, you will notice in the two examples that we watched, someone's generally framed over here, and someone's generally framed over here. So that way when we cut back and forth, it's not boring. Okay? It's moving even though it's still. So we do that. When I do the moving camera a lot, I'm always framing in one of these areas and then occasionally moving it. So this first assignment is to basically adhere to this rule of thirds, move to the camera, and then do what's called a continuity cut. So let me give you one example. I guess I'll go ahead and show Raphael's first. Where'd he go? Mr. Caravaggio. Okay. The other thing is, how many people have heard of the triangle law? Ah, the law of triangles. Okay. Let me see if my pointer's going to work. Oh, I put it away. Never mind. Yep, there we go. Spent $20 on this. Darn well better work. Excellent. Oftentimes when we frame, we like to make connections that involve three things. Okay? Like I said, it always comes back to three. So this is one of the other students. This is Juliana. And you will notice we don't just have her arms randomly placed. She's at an angle. She's literally across the largest part of the frame here. If you've ever done the Pythagorean theorem, she's across the largest part of the frame. And we have three direct points that give us an idea of what to look at. That's what we call the triangle rule. Is we're trying to connect points, and we can't help but look there. And because of the way that Raphael shot this, that's exactly where we want to be looking. Switches it to the next side. If we watch it carefully, because of where we're looking, let's go one frame at a time. That blanket never actually fully covers the frame. That's what we usually say we have to do, is the blanket has to go over the whole frame in both shots, or it's not going to work. Well, I said that to this guy, and he said, I'm going to see if I can make it work. And he did, because the entire time, we're looking right there. Because we were told to move that way because of the rule of thirds. And then when he decided to edit this, I'm not looking over here. I'm not looking in the empty area. I'm looking right where Sarah's head is now. And that's why it works. Had it been dead center, right in the center, and tried the blanket trick, it would not have worked. The other thing is with the blanket, he did establish somewhat of a triangle. So you're going to see where some of these work and some of these don't. Let's take Mr. Bergsagels. Does this one work for you? No. Why?
No drink.
Yeah, but first, no wine. There is no wine. Suspension of disbelief has been ruined. Why else doesn't it work? And he had a long talk about this. How does it feel? What? You said simple, okay. Depressive? Yeah. Yeah. It's depressing. The shot itself is very depressing. What is it? What?
Plain.
What?
It's plain.
Yeah, it's very plain. It's not, somebody mentioned things being dynamic earlier. This is not dynamic. It's literally like this. Let's go this way, and then let's go this way. Nothing connects. Nothing visually connects, really. And even that, on the motion, he stops. He stops. Let's get out of you. Come here. All right. Bertram. Let's take a look at Micah's. Micah's was interesting. This is here's interesting because once you start realizing you find a lot of personality in people's works. Okay, so this is Micah and his friend Thomas, and they're comedians. They do stand-up comedy. Yeah, they're fun to have in class. So here we go. The theme of the project is where am I for all of this? Let me give it one more time since I was talking.
Okay.
Does it work?
I feel weird when can you go back this?
I think I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah,
Right here.
He ends this shot right in the middle of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then he jumps to one of the
Breaks
to the right part of the
Told him, yeah. I told him this could work, but the problem is, here's our eye. Yeah, here's our eye. And then you've thrown our eye over here. And even though it seems like a small distance in the camera, once we watch it, whether it's on a phone or whatever, that's a gigantic piece of distance.
They could not use transition in that.
No, not necessarily. It's like no transitions, no wipes, no. No. What can you do to make a dynamic cut?
No, yeah, because in my work, slow motion. The thing we use when that happens, I did newsfeed
yeah.
effect.
Oh yeah.
So
You can't solve it, dissolve it.
yeah, that's what we do because we are running.
Yeah, because you're going really, really fast.
Yeah.
What I told them I could do to make it more of a cut,
less.
I could enlarge this a little bit and simply move it over. I could enlarge it and move it over, and it'd be a cut, and it'd be very dynamic. Boom.
Yeah.
In that way, because transitions have their own language. Okay, so if you do a dissolve, to me, if you do dissolve, that means more time. And if I wanted to stay consistent at this time, I want to cut. Even though I can make cuts and launch somebody into a different time, I want to use the cut to keep it consistently at this time. So what I told him, and he's doing a new one of it, is I would enlarge this a little bit and move it over into the area where it was before, and I can make it connect. That's the thing, is it's like you got me looking over here, and then all of a sudden I'm here. And that's a gigantic distance. You keep it here, it'll work. Because there are some good examples of that. Is this Sarah's? No, not Sarah's. Sarah did a pretty good job. Carver? No. Colvin? No. Let me see. Not Danucci. Is it Maddie? No. We'll take a look at that one, but Harper. Harper! Yeah, this one. This kind of blew everybody's mind. Why does that one work? I saw that one and I was impressed. Anybody know why that one works? There's two things that make it work. One, the framing. She decided to keep it dead center. The triangle. That one.
Yeah, besides it jumps the axis, it's really good.
Yeah. You would jump. You jump the 180. If she had not done this and put it very, very close to where it was before, I said, I'm one of those editors. I'd probably move it over a notch, where the elbow's in the same place.
Yeah.
But because of that arm movement, yeah, we've completely cracked the line. We've blown the 180. But yeah, please.
She used a little transition there.
Nope. That's just QuickTime using a blended frame. That's just QuickTime using a blended frame. No, I checked because they have to give me their project file.
Okay.
And I said, nope. Like, no. Yeah. That's just QuickTime being QuickTime. But yeah. But no, it's actually a hard cut. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like that half frame thing. But yeah, so it also plays around with the fact that tricking the eye is very easy. We don't think it is, but tricking the eye is very, very easy. And especially the two things that we are attached to most of all. Bright, shiny object. If we see a bright, shiny object, that means possible food or warmth in our psychology. Okay? It means food, warmth, shelter. It's something we must look at and go toward. You know, the dreaded, don't go toward the light jokes and all that. But yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing, movement. Movement often means danger, peril. Something could happen to us. So if we're taking these two things into consideration and playing around with how our eye and our brain reacts to that, we're like the magician that we know how the rabbit comes out of the hat. There's no mystery to us anymore as how the rabbit comes out of the hat. We make the rabbit come out of the hat. Two of these things that we have, playing with brightness, playing with movement, playing with this frame. That's 3. Ooh. I went back to 3. I just can't help it. Let's see. Oh, this was Rachel's. They made theirs thematic. Russo. Yeah, this is Izzy's. This is interesting. So this is my student who's currently just a little too obsessed with Stranger Things. But this didn't turn out that bad.
Upside down.
Mm-hmm. What she was trying to do was keep the subject as framed over here as much as possible. So that way when it shifts, she moves it. Again. Then when it rotates back, she tries to get the subject back to that other side of the frame as fast as possible. It was a little experimental. It was her going a little bit deeper in her work than she's done before. Also, sure, she and her boyfriend were hanging out together. What?
It can work. It's working.
Yeah.
You mean she's trying to give the message of the upside down.
Different world, mirror world, yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. She needs more time. She needs to quit inviting her boyfriend to her shoots, is what she needs to quit doing. Again, everything about who we are affects what we do. So, she needs to quit bringing her boyfriend to shoots, and then she'd give herself more time. So there we go. So that was the sort of entire assignment. They had to take 2 shots in motion, connect them, make sure they were applying the rule of thirds and brightness and movement. And it was a very big challenge for them. And these are like my second year students. It was a very big challenge. Yeah. He'll be kind of doing something like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this next thing in little clips. Occasionally a documentary will get made about directors, cinematographers that we kind of consider like a workbook. You know, you look at their thing. There was one that was made about editors. Not a lot of people watched it. But it is interesting in that it gives you an idea. And it originally did not have Spanish subtitles, but I found one with what I think are okay Spanish subtitles, I hope. And we'll sort of watch this one in chunks. Mostly get drunk. See, even great editors make cheesy beginnings to things, you know? Let me just say one thing. You ask a director what makes a movie, it's the director. You ask a cinematographer, it's the cinematography. You have a gaffer, it's like so just these are editors that finally get to actually say something on camera. So don't think it's just yeah.
I've been in business for, I don't know, 37 years, I think, something like that. And I did not really realize what editing was until I was in the editing room myself.
There's magic to editing. Magic is a discovery of something new that wasn't intended, that works for the movie.
Once you start to realize that film is the sum of editing, then editing is the thing you're always looking at.
Showtime, folks.
I think great editing skill will protect the director from suicide.
Filmmakers simply photographed what interested or amused them. They held a shot until they got bored, or the film ran out.
The fathers of cinema, Edison in the United States and the Lumiere brothers in France, were very pessimistic about the future of cinema. There was probably a worldwide interest in seeing these images move. But once you've seen somebody playing a joke with a hose, why pay money to see something that you can see for real out in the street? In fact, Auguste Lumiere went as far as to say that cinema was an invention without a future.
But Edwin Porter, one of Thomas Edison's employees, proved him wrong. Porter discovered that cutting separate shots together could create a story.
Edwin S. Porter really was the one with Life of American Fire. I think that started into cutting.
Best I could find. Best I could find.
By intercutting two shots that are not related to each other. One scene is going on at one place. basically the firemen rushing to a fire with their horse-drawn wagons. And the other scene is the fire, miles away. You intercut the two, and you understand psychologically and emotionally that these people's lives are in danger, and these people are coming to rescue them, and you're rooting all of a sudden for that to happen, and you're hoping they save the people. I often think about what it must have been like to be there to create the article as it was happening, and say, why don't we try this? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're doing the editing room now. We cut this on and say, oh, that doesn't work. Well, imagine what they must have said in 1904.
The Great Train Robbery was Porter's next film. That's when you really begin to see the possibilities. And I'm not saying this because I'm an editor, but
Yes, he is.
Editing is the thing.
Walter says everything because he's an editor.
It's
Walter's a
the
genius.
invention of flight. Both human-powered flight and motion picture editing were embedded in the same year, and they have similar kinds of effects.
The invention of editing gave birth to a new art and a new language. A language that can transport us in the blink of an eye from the vastness of the desert to the mysteries of the human face. A cut can bridge millions of years, connecting the prehistoric past to an imaginary future. Editing can slow down time or speed it up. The timing of a cut can startle audiences or amuse them.
Just die already.
The choice and length of shots shape our response to everything we see on the screen.
And editing is why people like movies. Because in the end, wouldn't we like to edit our own lives? I think we would. I think everybody would like to take out the bad parts, take out the slow parts, and look deeper into the good parts.
I'd like to talk about what he just said. Where he was saying, wouldn't we all like to edit our movies? You know who originally said that? Walter Murch, the guy who was earlier. So, please know this. We have a saying about editors. Editing is theft. We steal stuff all the time. Criminal. We steal things all the time. We steal ideas. We don't steal stuff off the internet, but we steal ideas, methods, all kinds of things to change them and improve them. Do you guys in Columbia have the light bulb jokes? Like, you know, how many butchers does it take to screw in a light bulb? That kind of thing. Okay, we have one at Editors called, how many editors does it take to change a light bulb? I can change it, but you're not going to like it. That's what we say all the time. Because all we're doing is changing things. And you're about to see some of that. We look at things and we change it. It's like, well, this could be better, this could be faster, this could be this could be that.
I started working on...
This is how old I am. That's what I edited on in college. You're very lucky.
what used to be called the upright moviola, which is a machine, editing machine that looks something like a green sewing machine on legs. I switched to computer editing in the mid-90s. The editor has to be, he's sort of the ombudsman for the audience. As an editor, you only see what is on the screen, not what was going on at the time of shooting. And that's how it's going to look to the audience.
That's not necessarily true anymore. Okay, that's not necessarily true anymore. This was filmed, let's see, that's Final Cut 7, so this was definitely back before 2010. That's not true anymore. You guys will probably be in situations where you have to shoot and edit and put things together, okay? I don't think Walter, he probably did that back in school. Walter's he's sort of the elites in editing right now. Whatever Walter wants, Walter gets. And rightfully so. He's got enough Oscars to prove it. So, this is where you, and a lot of what I'm doing now, fall into the fact that you might be shooting and editing at the same time. And separating yourself from each of those processes is very hard. I try and do as much of not being on set shooting as I can if I'm editing. Or if I shoot something, I try and stay away from the editing. Because we are also, and that's a terrible term, if you're an editor, you're what we call a baby killer. I'm always killing something that the cinematographer wanted, or the director wanted, or the producer wanted, and I just say it just doesn't work, so it's gone. And then they force me to put it back in, and then maybe if they're good, they realize that it shouldn't be in there anyway. But this is what we do. We have this saying, less is more. How many of you guys have heard that? Less is more. Especially in this. Sometimes the less we feed the audience, the more they put in. Okay? If it's simple, if it's something very simple, people will make it complex. If they enjoy it. Whether it's news, documentary, entertainment, it doesn't matter. If you keep it simple and direct, people will make it amazing. Okay?
A principle not to go on the set, not to see the actors out of costume, not to see anything other than the images that come to me from location.
A major Hollywood production shoots almost 200 hours of film.
Oh, yeah.
Unspooled, the film would stretch from LA to Vegas. An editor may work for months, even years, crafting this footage into a 2-hour movie. The finished film will contain thousands of shots, each measured in frames of 1/24th of a second.
For a writer, it's a word, all right? For a composer or a musician, it's a note, all right? For an editor and a filmmaker, it's the frames, all right? And you know, 1 frame off, or 2 frames added, or 2 frames less is the difference between a sour note and a sweet note. It's the difference between clunky, clumsy crap, all right, and orgasmic rhythm.
Verna Fields made many good contributions to Jaws. We all referred to Verna Fields as Mother Cutter because she was very earthy and very maternal. She cut her films at her house, in her pool house in the San Fernando Valley, and it was a very Hamish kind of workplace. The shark didn't work as well or as often as it was supposed to work according to the screenplay.
That's the fun.
We had a contest where Verna would stop the moviola on a frame where she wanted to make the cut, and I would stop it where I wanted to make the cut. And if ever we stopped it on the same frame that had already been marked with a grease pencil X, we knew that was the right frame on certain things where we didn't agree. And all of our disagreements always happened with that darn shark. Verna was always in favor of making less to be more. And I was trying to squeeze that one more, because it took me days to get the one shot. So I'm going back to, I'm on a barge for 2 days trying to get the shark to look real. And the sad fact was the shark would only look real in 36 frames, not 38 frames. And that 2-frame difference was the difference between something really scary and something that looked like a great white floating turd.
Well, I got so desperate on Terminator 2, trying to shorten that film to a manageable length, as we all understand that to be, that I said, well, wait a minute, do we really need all these frames? If we just took out 1 frame every second for the entire film, we'd shorten the film by a couple of minutes. Let's just do it as a test. We'll take a reel, and we'll take out 1 frame in every 24. And the editors looked at me like I was nuts. Let's just try it. Come on, nobody's ever done this. We took out 1 frame in every 24. And it was a mess. There were jerks, there were things, there were cuts in the wrong places. You totally saw it, and it just didn't work. Every one of those individual frames was important. Once you know that as an editor, now you get scared for a while. It's like, geez, am I cutting here or am I cutting here? But then after a while, you start to realize that there's great power in that, too.
D.W. Griffith was the first great filmmaker to understand the psychological importance of editing. Working a decade after Porter, he did more than anyone else to advance the storytelling tools Porter had developed. Griffith invented and popularized techniques that established the basic grammar of film. His melodramas were the first to draw audiences into the emotional world of his characters.
He certainly was the first man to use the close-up in a big way.
This was revolutionary. It was so revolutionary that the producers, when they saw this, were aghast. They thought, you can't put this picture out like this. You can't cut to this big, ugly shot of somebody. First of all, we're paying for this actor, this actress. We want to see their whole body. We don't want to just see their face. Second of all, the audiences won't know what to respond to. They're going to be all confused. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and the reality is that the audiences were not confused at all.
Griffith brought it together in one magnificent film, Earth and Nation, and we saw the accumulation of sort of 10 years of editing knowledge put into a movie. And all of a sudden you had not only had close-ups, but you had flashbacks, parallel action, and you had all sorts of things that he used to make the audience, his attention focused on a certain part of the frame.
E.W. Griffith established the tenets of classical film editing. And classical film editing relied on the concept of the invisible cut, in which action would always be continuous and fluid and moving.
The goal was to mask the cut so the audience wouldn't notice and could forget that they were watching a movie. Let's take another look. Notice how the gesture matches from one shot to the next? Griffith's seamless editing is still practiced today and was the dominant editing style in Hollywood movies for decades.
At last.
Look again. The cut is so smooth that it's barely noticeable.
It's all for telling the story. And all you want to do is get the person emotionally invested in the story. So it becomes this invisible craft.
We call it the invisible art. And indeed, it is. I mean, the more invisible we are, the better we're doing our job.
Unfortunately, the invisible style of editing kept editors invisible and unappreciated as well. For years, they have been the best-kept secret of the movies. The first cutters were considered hands for hire rather than creative partners in the filmmaking process. They looked at the images by holding the film up to the light. Then they would check their work by running it through a projector and making the necessary adjustments. Griffith's main cutter was Jimmy Edward Smith, who virtually lived with him at the studio, where they worked far into the night, running the film shot during the day. Later, Smith's wife Rose joined the editing team. The Smiths married during the cutting of Intolerance. For their honeymoon, Griffith allowed them the weekend off.
He's about 20 minutes out.
The Kazan film, The Last Tycoon, had a wonderful scene. It was obviously the story of Irving Caldwell. And I always took that as a wonderful metaphor about the editing process, that it's silent, it's anonymous.
What's that, are you asleep? Goddamn movie even puts the editor to sleep.
He's not asleep, Mr. Brady.
What do you mean he's not asleep?
He's dead, Mr. Brady.
Dead? What do you mean he's dead?
He must have died during
dead. We were just watching the rough cut. Jesus, I didn't hear anything. Did you hear anything? Not a thing.
And he probably didn't want to disturb the screening, Mr. Brady.
Today, not only is the editor still alive, but he has become the director's key collaborator. No other crew member spends as much time working alone with the director.
Finding the relationship with the editor is like trying to decide whether or not to get married. Because if the marriage isn't a good one, it's going to be a sticky divorce.
When I was doing my first movie, the only thing I knew is I wanted a female in it. Because I just felt a female editor would be more nurturing to the movie and to me. They wouldn't try to be winning their way just to win their way, all right? They wouldn't be trying to shove their agenda or win their battles with me. They would be nurturing me.
And that's very important to Mr. Tarantino.
think editors play a big role in directors in giving them support, making them feel like they can look at something that may have trouble or problems and be comfortable enough so that they can approach those problems.
Hi, Vincent. I'm getting dressed.
In the beginning, he really doesn't guide me, and then I put together what I think he wants. And pretty much we've worked together so long I can judge what he would want.
Fuck is this place?
This is Jack Rabbit Slim's. And Elvis Man should love it.
Come on, man, let's go get a steak.
You can get a steak here, Daddy-O. Don't be a...
Oh, after you, kitty cat.
Initially, I had it like really, it was like a date in real time, all right? And it was sort of like Sally's job to kind of like, little by little convince me to bring it down and bring it down and bring it down, and it still could be funny. You would still have what I'm talking about, but maybe it wouldn't be so painful.
He did want it to feel very much like a date, and it was very long at first, and we just had to kind of live with it for a while.
Just like, letting me live with it long enough so I could eventually, okay, I've had it enough, I've seen that enough, okay, maybe now I can lose this part. Okay, so now it's like here, and now it's like here.
Finally, we bring it down, and then I kind of brought it too far down, and then he said, gotta bring it back up.
That's it. No more. This is not a video.
We do that for 8 months, so intense. I see it more than my husband.
And sometimes I, get annoyed with her for not reading my mind 100%. I mean, all right, it's not good enough that she reads it 80% of the time. All right.
We work very intensely together, and it's kind of amazing we still like each other. If I was with my husband that long, I don't think I'd like him that much.
By the time I thought of an idea, written it, found the financing, cast the film, directed it, and get to the cutting room, and it's like I've washed up on shore. So I'm so happy to be there, because then I think, now we can start making a film.
It's so hard to be a director, and it's hard on the set. By the time I come to the cutting room the first week, there's usually half the people they were when they started out, they're shells of the people they were. And at least in my cutting room, I try to make it very easygoing and try to heal them back into shape so that they can get to work on the movie.
When Matthew Broderick is busted from having thrown the election, he enters the principal's office and sees all the people gathered there who know he's guilty.
Mr. McAllister, I hope you can help us clear something up.
He wanted to cut it like the end sequence of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, with holding on the faces for a really long time with this swelling music. No, let's cut it really fast and go to a climax.
And I didn't want to do that. I thought it was cheesy and would call too much attention to itself.
And he just wouldn't want to do it. He wouldn't want to put it in the movie like that. So finally I said, I'll pay you $25.
And I said, no, let's not do that.
I go, okay, 50.
And I said, no.
He's like, no.
And I said, 75.
So he even gave me an invoice. And it says, I owe him $75. So I paid him $75 to cut it in. And that's how it is now.
I think successful editors are really sly politicians.
The Russian Revolution sparked a revolution in film editing as well.
The crazy Russians start fucking around with images, all right, and juxtaposing them and creating different emotional effects.
Lenin saw film as the perfect medium to inspire his largely illiterate nation to join the revolution.
They took these films out in the middle of farmlands and showed it to the farmers and the peasants. They began to understand that they could get a certain emotional, psychological effect by a certain type of cutting from one image to the next. And that became a manipulation of what the audience was feeling.
The Russian filmmakers rejected the bourgeois stories and seamless editing practiced by Griffith. Instead of melodrama, they offered real life. To make the film Man with a Movie Camera, documentary filmmaker Ziga Vertov and his team took his cameras into the streets to record a typical day in Moscow.
It's constantly reminding me that I'm watching a movie. There were scenes inside an editing room. You see how they edited movies back in 1929. They were engaged in a pure explosion of creative activity in manipulating these images. Every modern editing convention that we know of is demonstrated in Man with a Movie Camera.
The film celebrated not just the revolution, but the role of the cameraman and the editor in helping to create it. Vertov and his wife Elizaveta cut their documentaries and newsreels in dark basements with rats scuttling underfoot. But in this film, he made the editor as important as any other worker in the revolution. The theoretician Lev Kuleshov also experimented with film editing. In his most famous study, he took a shot of a Russian actor and intercut it with 3 different objects: a bowl of hot soup, a distraught woman draped across her husband's coffin, and a little girl playing with a teddy bear. When audiences saw the film, they raved about the actor's performance. How hungrily he looked at the soup. How sorrowfully he gazed at the woman. And how tenderly he watched the little girl.
But actually, it was the same expression each time. Now this demonstrates the power of juxtaposition, the power of montage, by taking one shot and another shot to give it a third meaning. And the third meaning is an effect, an emotion that's much greater than the sum total of the 2 parts that put it together in the first place. And this is the basis of all editing, by the way.
One of Kuleshov's contemporaries, Sergei Eisenstein, combined these experiments with Marxist ideology to create films of revolutionary fervor. He saw editing like history, as a clash of images and ideas. The meaning of the film was not in the shots themselves, but in their collision. When 2 elements are in conflict, he argued, their collision sparks a new meaning of higher order. Where Griffith tried to hide his cuts, Eisenstein reveled in them. He wanted the audience to feel the frame, to know that this is a movie, not life.
Eisenstein is the first real director. He killed himself in his staging, he killed himself with his camera work and everything, but it was all at the service of the censors. Every little single solitude.
I got a movie projector when I was like 11, and one of the first movies I got was Battleship Potemkin. I just ran that Odessa step sequence over and over again. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. One of the things that makes it incredible is the editing, the incredible juxtaposition of images. What the Russians did was a response to what Griffith had done. Classical editing, and now Eisensteinian montage, then you can take that further. The American cinema has absorbed all of that stuff from the Russians, and now it's in our films. The fact is that many of these techniques have been appropriated into what we do every day as editors, right here in Hollywood, California, making action pictures. Equal?
He's not lying. Visual literacy of all this, this would have been for me like a film theory course, like 20 years ago, where we'd have to define Eisensteinian montage and all this, and we'd simply look back at the professor and go, but we see this every day. This is just part of everything we see. It's not, it's part of the common language, if you will. So I will tell you this, I buy into Eisensteinian montage. In the fact that when we edit anything, I don't care if it's a documentary, news, even sports, I am doing it because I want to have an effect on the audience from every single piece that I have been given. I will manipulate, if you want to say it, every single piece to get that audience reaction. Okay? Just watch. You'll see this in the news. You see it everywhere. Every piece wants to draw out a reaction of some type. Show you something quickly, and then we're going to talk about what I'm going to demonstrate for you. It's really it's hard for people to see the Kuleshov experiment with that particular actor and all that. There's a great explanation of it on editing, because it's the director Alfred Hitchcock. This is not Alfred Hitchcock. Okay. This is.
Mr. Hitchcock, most critics have always considered Shadow of a Doubt, which you made in 1943, as your finest film.
Me too.
That is your opinion of it.
Always a question.
In Shadow of a Doubt, of course, as in all Hitchcock films, your use of the camera has always been unique. The whole technical side of filmmaking, especially editing, has been a principal concern of yours. Would you be good enough to explain some of the basic methods in the cinematic approach to storytelling?
Well, you have two kinds of what we might call montage. I think we call it cutting. It isn't exactly that. Cutting implies severing something. It really should be called assembly. Mosaic is assembling something to create a whole. Montage means the assembly of pieces of film, which moved in rapid succession before the eye, create an idea. Of course, the most elementary form is the juxtaposition of imagery in various sizes. You know, a lot of people think that cutting is, or we'll say montage or assembly, is taking a man from one place to another and jumping into a close-up of him, which Griffith invented, it's true. But to me it goes much deeper. And as I say, the picture Psycho contained quite an amount of cinematic approach to this, to its basic content. In the first place, we had in it the murder of a woman in a shower, of a nude woman. Now, as you know, you could not take the camera and just show a nude woman being stabbed to death. It had to be done impressionistically. So it was done with little pieces of film. The head, the feet, the hand, the parts of the torso.
Shadow on the curtain.
Everything, you see, was used. The shower itself. I think in that scene there were 78 pieces of film in about 45 seconds.
That's pretty good. Okay. That's interesting because that's what we actually say, less is more, even though he said it was 70 cuts in 45 seconds. We see much less of it, we put it together in our head. We talk about that idea of continuity cutting. You know, if I'm coming in like this, we cut to the close-up and you can see my arm come in. Here's what happens now when we combine both. The aviator out of Baldwin. Thank you. Where is it? Scene. Let's go. Char. Where is it? Usually it pops right up. Give me 1 second. Alec Baldwin and Leo Nardo. That is not how you spell Leonardo. At least not anymore. Okay. Wait. Aviator. Pan Am. This is why I should have checked it right before. Hang on. Sunday. Well, that is a wrapper, evidently. Here. Dinner scene. Best scene's part 1. No. I have an idea. Is this login?
Yes.
Okay. Use another account. You're about to see my Gmail. Congratulations. How do I get the @? Miss Camila, which one is it? Can somebody help me get the @ on this thing? I'm sorry.
What? Oh.
That's okay. Did you hide it?
No, I closed it.
Oh, well, you know.
Sorry.
Hey. YouTube. You said it's Command 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Control.
Control. Okay.
Control, so yes.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
Control 2.
or Shift. No, Shift. Shift. 2.
No. Option.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next. Next. Yep. Hang on, passcode. I have it marked in my system and I did not bring it up. So forgive me. There we go. Authenticator. There we go. 68564. Oh. How about I do that? Come on. 849. Next. There we go. I have no public videos? What? Okay, here we go. Like foods. Audio class clips. What are the clips for the audio class? No. Oh, this is upsetting. Where is it? Okay. I'm sorry I'm taking up everyone's time with this. Let me see if I can find it again. The Aviator. No. Why is it I can always find it when I need it? When I don't need it, now I need it. Wait. Buttons. Zippers. Oh my goodness. I had a class items thing. Where is it? Class. There we go. Okay. All right. Sorry. This is something that I show people that kind of blows their minds. So the editor on this was the editor that Scorsese's been working with for years. Okay? In order to win an Oscar, you send in a scene. You send in a scene. And that's how it gets judged. Oh, not available. Come on. Wait, what's this? Is this an ad? That's just what they're showing? Well, guess I should have checked that one. Okay, well let me describe the scene for you. Because I can. It's an Oscar-winning scene. Because it involves Alec Baldwin and Leonardo DiCaprio having a conversation. Okay? And everybody wants to see this as actors. There's a young lady in the center eating an ice cream sundae. And every single cut, you can see her eat it, and then it's full again. Or the cherry's missing on top. Or she hasn't started eating it. Or it's moved. Almost every single cut, you can see this, if you're looking for it. And it almost comes out like montage, because most people aren't looking for it. Because of the way it's edited, everybody sees the conversation. If you go back and look at it again, you can see that there is no visual consistency on the ice cream sundae. Absolutely none, because the editor decided to show how good she was in how she can get people to pay attention to things and how we can trick the eye with this and not necessarily continuity cutting. Okay? It's easy to fool people. It's easy to fool the eye with this. When we come back from lunch, when is lunch? Is it noon or 1 o'clock? It's like whenever? Okay.
Yeah.
I never remember. Okay. 12 works for me. What I'm going to do is start demoing in Adobe how to do this type of work. Okay? I'm also going to give you some presents. Yeah, if you have, do you have drives with you? With drives, old stuff? If you do, I have media files and lessons and some tutorials I can give you to watch. Okay? If not, if you have a Dropbox or if you have a Google Drive, I can invite you to that, to watch these lessons, okay? And it'll be very much the basics, and then we'll go over more of the advanced stuff, okay? But that's what I'm going to give you, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, hey, you know, not a problem. Hang on. How many people have opened up Premiere? How many people have used Premiere? You've used Premiere? Okay. How many have not?
Not.
Okay, great. This will be fun for you. This will be fun. You're going to like it. That's what editors always say. This will be fun. Don't worry. Yes? Adobe. Premiere. Yes, for Premiere. So I figured before lunch I'd just go over I'll just do a little demo of how I cut, and then I'll show you how to do it. Let me open a project. Okay, I'm going to go to my drive. Right. Which one am I going to use? Okay. And yes, those of you who want to know other things, I will be showing super secret tricks. Yeah, I've been using this stuff a long time, so. Secret things.
Classified.
Stuff that a lot of people don't know about. Alright, so. Project was saved in a newer version and cannot be opened. Uh-oh. Well, guess I'm just going to have to start over. Nope. Yeah, you are... you are 0.1 version back. Alright. Biddle. If you've experienced Adobe at all in their new updating system, this will happen. Okay. As a trainer for all of these programs, I will tell you this. All of them are wonderful and all of them are terrible all at the same time. They are all awful and they are all terrible all at the same time. Anybody that works in editing will tell you this. Alright, let's go to the Macintosh hard drive. I'm just setting this up so I save properly. Oh, it won't let me save outside. Really? I'm going to put you here. Choose. Excellent. Scratch disks. Let's just go with same as project right now. Okay. I'm going to go a little fast right now, but trust me, you'll get plenty of time on this. Okay. Boom. Let's maximize, please. Okay. What do I want to bring in? Video lessons 2017. Yep, give me some. Wow, this thing is really stuck down. README. Folders, there's the master, there's this. Start date, end date. Give me some sources. Video, original, Sabana Sonic. Okay. Click, import. Dolby Deck must be installed to use this feature. Okay. I don't need to use that feature, so that's just fine. So guys, this is the tutorial media that we end up using. File format is not supported. Really? Stream MTS. Bueno, okay. And we have sound. We have sound, we don't have sound. No sound. Okay. No sound, no sound. Okay, let me get one last set of media here. Panel group settings. Maximize panel group. Give me some lessons. Give me some tutorial media. Still with this, really? Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Photoshop. Photoshop. Oh, yeah. Okay, this doesn't have any sound on it, but this is the kind of media we'll be using. Let's go back. Thank you. Restore the panel group size. So this is the kind of stuff that we use for our tutorials. Okay? We use this basically to get students familiar with the application in some way. This is a very silly project. But I find that silly works with the students. It really, really works.
Thank you.
For those of you who have used Adobe before, you are familiar with the trick? Yes, no?
Which trick?
Oh, I'll give you the trick. It's my favorite. Here's what most people do. Okay? Again, we'll go over this a little more. When we talk about editing, okay, we talk about, in many cases, going around the clock face. So, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? This is our project. We'll do our metadata. This is our sources. This is our timeline. These two are connected. This is what the audience sees. This is what we work with. Okay. Now, the thing is to go fast. Especially if you're in a situation where, I have got to go fast in some way. One of the things that most people don't know is that if I take up to 20, it looks like I have about 20 here. Okay? And I can simply put all of these in my source. Yeah, and I'll just hit Shift 2 and scroll through them. Okay, I'm able to scroll through them all there instead of double clicking. And this is the speed at which I choose to work. I like working at like this speed a lot. And basically I'm looking to put together just a very small story. And by doing this, by being able to visualize them quickly, I'm going to figure out this story. And basically, this is a short story about this student coming up right here, making me mad. Which, since it's a student, it's not that hard to figure that that's what she's going to do. Okay. So, scrolling through. I know you guys don't maybe have opportunities to use slates. Okay? If you have a phone these days, and you can, do it just to mark your shots. Like most of my students will do it on iPhone. I have a little simple slate on this, just my phone. It doesn't have to be the clap slate, but I'll just toss it in to show the name of the shot, where the location might be. The other thing that's also very helpful if you're self-editing, okay? And this I learned actually from a foreign student of mine. She calls it Goofy Pen. And she has to also be on camera. She has to occasionally be on camera and work with the camera. And she has the stupidest looking pen I've ever seen. It's like this bright purple pen with this fuzzy thing on top, and when she does it, it shakes and makes noise. So when she goes into the shot, she just goes like that, and then puts it in her pocket. And every time she has another take, she just takes it out and shakes it, puts it back in her pocket. She goes faster, she goes so fast through her news footage to get on the air, because all she's looking for is that stupid pen. Even if she's just shooting B-roll, she'll occasionally just go in front of the camera, because it's a new thing, and she wants it, it's like, cut there. She's giving herself visual cues all the time, and it's the stupidest looking thing ever. I don't know, she said she got it at like the Georgia State Fair when she was 9 or something. It's like her favorite thing. So all she does, she just goes, and everybody makes fun of her, but it gives her a visual cue. Because one of the things that's hard for us to do is read all the time. I often get on students when they want to make movies, the first thing they want to do is like shoot things like people are having conversations on their cell phones. And the first thing I always say is, I don't go to the movies to read. I go to the movies to watch stuff. And any visual cue that I can get to make things go faster, that's the same thing. So that's why we most often do the slate. Even if we're not doing like sync sound or something like that, just to give me a visual cue that this is about to start. Okay? So I'm just going to put 3 random images together. Okay, scroll back. Come on. Good. Go forward. All right. I'm going to start it in the action. Stop it there. Go ahead and drop it in. In this case, I'll just drag it down to get started. Boom. There's one image. Okay. Let me go find another one. Let me just find one of me. Or maybe I can even find... Let's go back. No, not that one. Yeah, let's find one of me, because I'm great. Okay.
That's a shot.
Cool. I'm getting in my mode there. Okay. Back, starting here. Oh, look, we're going close to wipe the camera. Boom. Drop that in. And let's scroll through and find some more. Not even thinking, just using visual cues. Oh, I think that was the one I wanted. Let me scroll back. There we go. And it's option O. Whoop. Boom. Let's shift O, drop the endpoint there. Out. Make another. And here's this masterpiece that I have created. And that's it. So that would just be a simple parallel action cut. That's it. It's just a simple parallel action cut using only cuts. Now, if I want to say I don't want parallel action, I want to say make it look like something's happened over time. Let me back up here. Shift 2. Yeah, I think I'll use this one. Okay, move that here. Do just past the slate. Started right about there. Okay, V. Click. Click. Give me Shift, Control, click. And source monitor mask frame. Okay, clipped it a little. Hang on. Q, that'll be better. And now something's happened over time. It's just that simple with 3 images. And then I can make it look like something's happened over time. There she is. Now, of course, being this person that I am, I don't like that because of where I'm framed. So, Shift T. Older version. T. T, move over there. Let's move her over a bit. T, please. No trim mode? No trim mode. Wow, that's weird. Get her in the frame. Boom. Okay, right there. Now to make it visually consistent, I put her right about where I am. Might take the opposite side. Add a little more there. Put it right about there. Okay, there we go. Eye lines match. Out of T. Whoa, really? Oh, now you're in trim mode. Well, you're awful. Now you're in trim mode again. Look at that. I'm messing with it all kinds of ways. So now, boom, her face, it's mine. Not bad. I could also think about what we talked about with Breaking Bad versus Metastasis, which I am sure I mispronounced again. Am I getting there? Okay, good. Okay. And let's do this. Yeah, you're going to learn how to do all of this. Trust me. You are not getting out of this room until you know how to do all of this. Okay. T. Take that out. Get rid of you. T. And let's roll that back a little bit. Just a little bit of that tap before I leave. Now my sense of style tells me that's a little too close to the cut, but I don't care. Okay, for now I don't care. But yeah, just three simple things put together. And we already know that I'm upset and she's screwing around. And it must have something to do, why I'm upset must have something to do with her. That's it. 3 shots. Nothing more. I don't really need anything else at this time. But, of course, we will at some point. No. Where are you? Yeah, screw it. I'll just use Zoom today. Cool. I don't know where all my hotkeys are on this keyboard. So, we're also not in editing, we're in Lumetri. Get me out of that. That's not editing. Window, workspaces, editing. Reset to the saved layout, please. Thank you. That is much better. Okay. So that's just really how simple it is. And this is just cuts. We haven't thrown in dissolves. We haven't done anything. We've done one split edit. And that's it. We've done one split. But I'm going to show you how to do this very, very easily. Okay? Dealing with all of that. That's all we do. That's all I've done all my life. I cannot do anything more complex. Even try and get me into science, anything like that, I'm done for. I gotta keep them like this. Cool?
Okay.
Alright. Seriously. You're learning from one of the finest mediocre students from Syracuse University. So, congratulations. Seriously. Okay, let's go ahead and take lunch. When we come back, I will find out your Gmails and I will put you on the drive, or if you have a drive, I'll give you some of this other stuff, and then we'll get to work and I'll show you how we put all this stuff together. Okay. And what we think about when we analyze a shot, want to put action together, the whole schmear. Okay? Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.